The fight no one believed would actually happen has now become the biggest circus act in combat sports history. Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis, a matchup so outrageous it blurs the line between ambition and absurdity. What started as internet whispers turned into an actual press conference, and by the time the two men stood face to face, it was clear that boxing had once again crossed into uncharted territory. The tension in the room wasn't just about ego or bravado. It was about identity. What does boxing even mean anymore when a YouTuber can share the stage with one of the most feared knockout artists in the world? From the moment Jake Paul walked onto that stage, towering over the 5'5" Davis with his 6'1" frame, the power imbalance was impossible to ignore. Cameras clicked, fans shouted, and the air crackled with disbelief. Jake grinned, tossing verbal grenades about how he was going to outbox a man who has spent his entire life perfecting the art of boxing. "He's been doing it wrong his whole life," Jake declared, a line that sent the room into chaos. Tank, visibly amused but clearly irritated, responded with the calm venom of a man who doesn't need to scream to be deadly. "He said he going to outbox me? Whoop-de-doo." That one phrase, delivered in Tank's signature stoic tone, said everything. He didn't need to play the clown. He knew when the lights went out, fists would do the talking. But what followed that press conference wasn't hype. It was confusion. The internet split in half, analysts called it a mockery, and boxing veterans couldn't decide whether to laugh or cry. Even among those who had tolerated Jake Paul's journey through the sport, this matchup crossed a line. Gervonta Davis, the WBA lightweight champion, 135 pounds of compact destruction, was set to share the ring with a man who walks around at over 200 pounds. The idea alone felt like fantasy booking from a wrestling script, not a sanctioned boxing event. Yet here it was, stamped, streamed, and sold to Netflix's massive audience. The critics wasted no time. Some, like Stephen A. Smith, blasted the fight as a disgrace to boxing. Others, like Eddie Hearn, called it a money grab wrapped in marketing. Their frustration wasn't just about the size difference, though that 70-pound gap was staggering. It was about what the fight symbolized. Boxing, the sport once defined by legacy and honor, was now fully immersed in the entertainment business. It wasn't about belts anymore. It was about views, streams, and virality. The sport that once sold dreams of greatness was now selling shock value. Still, Jake Paul didn't flinch. He's made a career out of weaponizing doubt. Every critic fuels his brand. Every outrage becomes promotion. He knows that people will watch, not because they believe he'll win, but because they want to see him humbled. That's the paradox that keeps him powerful. Hate him or love him, you'll tune in. And for Jake, that's victory before the first punch is even thrown. Meanwhile, Davis's side of the story is more complicated. Just months ago, he was talking about losing passion for boxing, battling mental fatigue, and even hinting at retirement. His arrest for domestic violence, later dismissed, had cast a shadow over his image, and his controversial draw against Lamont Roach in March raised questions about whether Tank was still at his best. So when the Jake Paul fight was announced, many saw it as a lifeline, not a challenge, but a payday. A way to step back into the spotlight and cash out big, without risking his legacy against another elite contender like Shakur Stevenson, and that's where things get messy. Shakur, one of the most respected technicians in the sport, didn't hold back. He called the entire idea disrespectful to boxing. "If Tank's really about it," Shakur said, "he'd fight me. I'm the best in the division, not some YouTuber." His frustration echoed that of millions of boxing purists, those who still believe the ring should be reserved for those who've earned it. But Shakur's challenge also revealed something deeper. A growing divide within the sport between those who fight for legacy and those who fight for the bag. And make no mistake, this fight is a bag. Netflix executives, promoters, and sponsors all know it. The numbers will be insane, not because it's a fair matchup, but because it's a spectacle. It's the Mayweather-McGregor formula on steroids. Controversy equals cash. People may call it a clown show, but it's a circus everyone's willing to buy tickets for. Even Keith Thurman pointed out the irony. The same critics who blast Davis for taking this fight will still watch it. "If you really don't support it," he said, "don't tune in. But you will." Former heavyweight Eddie Chambers offered a more grounded warning, and his words carry weight. He reminded everyone that Davis, despite the size disadvantage, is not to be underestimated. "Anybody that gets in the ring with Tank that isn't a damn dinosaur is going to feel something," Chambers said. "He's too fast, too sharp, and he hits too clean." But even Chambers admitted that the physical differences make this matchup hard to take seriously. Jake Paul eats punches from 200-pound men every week. Davis, for all his brilliance, has never fought someone that heavy. The physics alone seem unfair. What's wild is that for Jake Paul, this fight isn't about legacy. It's about legitimacy. He's tired of being the YouTuber-turned-boxer label. He's desperate to force the world to call him a real fighter. Beating Tank Davis, or even lasting 12 rounds with him, would be another notch on his belt of defiance. But for Tank, the motivations are murkier. This isn't a title defense. It's a show, and every second he's in it risks damaging his credibility. Lose to Jake Paul and he becomes a meme. Win and he gains nothing, except a bigger bank account. The clash between entertainment and authenticity has never been clearer. One side of boxing's fan base craves the glitz and viral moments. The other side mourns what's being lost. The art, the discipline, the essence of what made boxing the sweet science. It's a generational split. For younger fans, this fight is must-see TV. For traditionalists, it's blasphemy. And maybe that's the genius of it all. Both sides are right. This fight shouldn't exist, but it also couldn't have existed in any other era. Jake Paul has built a world where celebrity and sport coexist, where hate becomes currency, and where even the most ridiculous ideas can become reality if enough people click buy. Tank Davis versus Jake Paul isn't about skill or belts. It's a reflection of who we've become as fans, as a culture. We want drama, we want chaos, we want moments we can argue about for days online, and that's exactly what we're getting. Still, for those who love the sport, truly love it, there's an ache underneath the excitement. Because while Netflix, Jake, and Tank will all cash out big, the soul of boxing loses another piece. As one analyst put it bluntly, we lose, they win. Nasty work. But whether you see it as a scam or a spectacle, the fight is happening. And when that bell rings, two worlds will collide. One built on tradition, the other on clicks. It's less about who wins and more about what survives afterward. So, what do you think? Has boxing evolved or has it sold its soul? Can Jake Paul actually survive Tank's power, or will his confidence finally meet reality? And most importantly, is this the kind of fight that keeps boxing alive, or the one that finally kills it? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next breakdown. Because love it or hate it, this fight is going to define what boxing becomes next.